billion Uganda shillings. The official groundbreaking ceremony of the Kampala flyover project, it was held yesterday at Nachivubo Blue Primary School by President Yoweri Museveni. The construction of the Kampala flyover will be financed through the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, like I said. And they've extended an untied loan amount of Japanese yen, that is 199.89 million at an annual interest rate of 0.01%. And that kind of a ring road or a flyover doesn't come cheap, and it's going to be in the heart of Kampala. Well, JICA will finance the cost of construction works and the supervision of consultants for the project. The primary alignment of the project commences at the point about 500 meters to the south side of the Clock Tower Junction, passes through the Clock Tower Junction and along Mukwana Road to the Kitgum House Junction. So you can imagine exactly where it's going to be. That's right through the Clock Tower Junction to the Clock Tower, right through the Clock Tower Junction to the Mukwana Road and then to Kitgum House Junction. And of course, what's most important is when he was meeting people, President Museveni said that the Grand Sky Road will be the first of its kind of infrastructure in Kampala City, and on its completion, it will mitigate traffic jam and improve the mobility in the city. And of course, the project is one of a kind. Never has Kampala City ever had that kind of a flyover before. And it will indeed change the entire landscape and the look of the city as we know it. And it's going to be very impressive. And if all the 300 billion that has been earmarked for this project goes into this, every single penny, then Kampala indeed will look like a modern city. And of course, the scope of works of the project's works includes the construction of flyovers, as you can see, or sky roads at Clock Tower and Kitgum House. Those are the sky roads over that you can see there. That is an artistic impression of the Clock Tower and Kitgum Road and Kitgum House, widening Mukwana Road and part of Queen's Way. And this is very important because, especially if you're a businessman or a businesswoman, time is of the essence. And in Kampala, the jams have become notorious. For example, if you wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, by the time you reach, for example, if you're coming from the Kolero area, by 6:30, by the time you get to Clock Tower, already traffic has started to build up. From 7 all the way till around 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning, the jam is totally impossible. Then, of course, during lunchtime, especially on a Friday, when people are going to prayers, for Juma prayers, you find that the traffic jam is absolutely unbearable. And then in the afternoon, the traffic jam in Kampala starts as early now as 3 o'clock all the way to around about 9 o'clock in the evening. And many people have been wondering, why has the traffic jam increased so much in the last 5 years or so? The families in Uganda now, especially those who are living in Kampala, majority of them own cars. Yeah, majority of them own cars. So you'll find a home has at least 2 cars, one for the wife and one for the husband. And sometimes even the children have their own car. So you have, from a home, 3 vehicles registered to that home. So at the end of the day, it becomes, I mean, if all of the people are on the roads, for example, it becomes quite congested. For a businessman and a businesswoman, the 2 most important things, as everybody knows, is location, yeah, and also timely mobility. If you have to move goods from one place to another to meet a particular target, you have to do it in the quickest time possible, otherwise you lose money. And that's why they're bringing up this Kampala flyover project. It will ensure that people are able to get to different parts of the city as quickly as possible and reduce on the traffic jams already in a congested city as it is. Because Kampala is quite congested, and it's a 1950 city, planned city, operating in 2018. So the roads are pretty narrow as well. So this flyover project, apparently, according to JICA and UNRWA, will ensure that we're able to have better access, first and foremost, to the road itself. And then secondly, it will ensure that traffic will be diverted and people will be able to travel more freely. But most importantly, It will also give a skyline, the Kampala skyline, a different look. Many people have been always wondering, we want Kampala to look different. Well, this time it can look different, especially if the 300 billion that is earmarked, 300 billion Uganda shillings earmarked for this project. Every single penny goes towards that project. Then we'll see real change. So we're going for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We shall be also analyzing the fact that transportation is very important in business. Transport and location. We'll be right back. Thank you for watching Smart Business. You tuned into Smart24, where we believe that you don't just have to be smart, you have to be an economical and very wise business person. So think smart and be smart. And this show is called Smart Business. It's a mid-morning show. It's hosted by me, Jane Kasumba, and of course, Hannah Mbago, who's away on special assignment today. Well, when we, before the break, we were talking about the flyover that was commissioned by the president yesterday. That was actually launched by the president yesterday. Very important for the city of Kampala. We have been wanting for a long time the Kampala city to become a modernized city, because cities all around the world, be they in Africa, have become extremely modern. And I think the Ugandan public are looking for a better city, and one that provides better services, and one in which they can get around quicker, and one that looks has a beautiful skyline. All that is pretty much important. But most importantly, as business people, when you take a look at the flyover, it's going to do one thing for a lot of businessmen and women. It's going to ease transportation for them and the ability for them to move from one place to another, or to move their goods from one part of town to another part of town without lagging behind in the congestion that is a traffic in Kampala, in modern day Kampala. Well, transport is a very major contributor, as many people are aware, to an economy and a competitive force in business. It is the activity that physically connects a business to its supply chain partners, such as suppliers and the customers, and is a major influence on the customer's satisfaction with the company. Because at the end of the day, if, for example, I am a customer and I've asked business A and business B, that is, perhaps if, for example, I'm in Naguru at this particular moment, and I ask business A, that is in Chikubo, to get me a particular item that I require in the next 1 hour. As a client, that is what I want. I want an efficient service that can get me the necessary goods to my destination in the quickest time possible. However, in Kampala, as we speak now, it's around about a few minutes, around 10:20. a few minutes after 10. The jams in Kampala cannot allow you to do that. And that flyway that you're currently seeing on your screens is one that is going to try to ease the congestion and traffic that Kampala has become known for. Kampala City is a small city. It's a city created around early 1940s, 50s, but not a lot of I mean, everybody has planned within that city. So it's still pretty much a small city. So what government is trying to do is to make sure that they get projects and opportunities for UNRWA, for example, to create a transportation network that can ease people's movement from one area to another in Kampala, and also to ease the movement of their goods from one area to another. And that's what it looks like. It's a project courtesy of JICA from Japan, and it's valued at over 300 billion Uganda shillings. So there you have the president flagging it off. That was done yesterday, and that's what it looks like. You can see the clock tower right in the center there, and that is the overall flyover and ring road that's going to be up. And you can also see the pedestrian walkway, so people will be able to walk. I mean, there's a plan not just for the cars, but a plan also for the pedestrians and also the cyclists. And that's what makes a beautiful city, the ability for it to offer services of this manner, not to just the road users, but also to the pedestrians as well, to get from point A and to get from point B. And transport is very, very important, because sometimes it's being blamed for companies' inability to properly serve its customers. If you don't have an efficient transport system or an efficient transport roadwork, then you can't really serve your clients well. So this project is going to be very beneficial, not just to the Ugandan government, but also to the business people who plow their trade here in Kampala. And on top of that, also the Ministry of Tourism will be able to benefit from this, because at the end of the day, they'll be able to showcase a very beautiful city, maybe advertise it around the world, and people would love to come and see a scenic and beautiful capital city. So it's much kudos really to those who are behind this project. Now, as the project kicks off, I think it's important for people to, even the public, to take a great interest into what exactly the flyover is. And that's why we're showing you the images on your screens at this particular moment. That's what the artistic impression looks like, and that's what is supposed to be delivered after this project is over. And once that project is delivered, it's up to, for example, the consultants who work on the project to make sure that it is as per it has been planned. So we're hoping for good things indeed. And there you can see how it's going to move all the way from Clock Tower to Kitgum House. And I think that is the area around about Kitgum House. And you can see on the right-hand side would be Kitgum House. And of course, the major junction, and which goes also to Mukwano roundabout. So that is pretty much what it looks like. It will change, without a doubt, the whole scenic view or scenic aspect of Kampala City. We've never had a flyover like this before. And many people who are watching might be wondering, why has it taken so long for this to happen? Well, flyovers or flyways are very expensive. And I think over time, the government has not been able to afford that kind of flyway system. But now, with this grant from JICA, valued at around about 300 billion, they will indeed be able to do so. So that's what it's supposed to look like. Let me take you through exactly where it's going to start. It's going to commence there. There's going to be a flyover right at Clock Tower. It will then proceed up in Zambia, like you can see. It goes by the Zambia underpass. Yeah, there'll be a connection there on Gaba Road. Then it continues up right through the Chibuli Junction, and then it continues right to the Kitgum flyover, and then right on to Garden City, and then to Ginger Road. So you're going to see the flyovers are going to be there's one at Clock Tower. There's a Clock Tower flyover. Then there is the Zambia underpass. That's not a flyover. Then there's a Kitgum House flyover. So there you have it. And of course, the red in the diagram represents the flyover, and the green aspect represents the road widening and improvement of the road, which is, I talked about this earlier. Kampala is a city created in 1950, and still our road network is similar to that of 1950. But our population has almost quadrupled since then. And every family has at least access to a vehicle, be it a public service vehicle or a personal vehicle, and they come out every single day on the roads, hence the congestion. And of course, then you can see the orange is an underpass, and then the yellow round ring is a junction improvement. So that's what the flyover looks like. We shall, as a business station, we shall certainly be following this project until its fruition, because it's very important for businessmen and women who are watching. Two main things are important in business. Like I said, location is always key. And when you're in Kampala, location is key. And most importantly, apart from location, transportation and access to a transport system. How you move your goods from one point to another point. How quickly can you serve your customer with your service. So in a city like Kampala, if there's a lot of traffic jam, it's difficult for you to move from point A to point B carrying your goods. However, if it's well planned and there's a flyover of that magnitude, then it will ease transport, it will ease traffic, and at the end of the day, you as a businessman or businesswoman who's watching this channel will be able to quickly provide your customers with your services at the soonest possible time. On that note, we're going for a quick commercial break. We're going to be right back with the Forex rates. Thank you for staying tuned to Smart Business. My name is Jane Kasumba. This is a mid-morning show all the way from 10 until around about 1. We try to inform you give you the pointers on smart business. We try to give you all the necessary statistics that you need to have in order to make the right business and financial decisions within this hour. So right now, let's go over to the fuel rates in an area we are quite accustomed to. We're going to take a look at the fuel rates in Tinda, in Bukato, and in Naguru nearby, and that is pretty much what the fuel rate looks like this morning. Shell in Tinda is trading today petrol at 4,420 thousand per litre and 4,180,000 for diesel. Total Bukato has 4,430 for petrol. and per litre, and 4,180 for diesel per litre. And petrol city in Tinder is at 4,220,000 per litre for petrol, and 3,920 for diesel per litre. And total in Tinder stands currently at 4,430 per litre for petrol, and 4,180 per litre for diesel. Just quickly, for those of you who might have just arrived just now, what we're trying to do is to make sure that you have the best prices on hand so that you can make the right decision. And I think I'm going to take a look again at that screen, and I think it is Petrol City at this current time that has the best rate. I know our producer will have that on the screen yet again. The fuel rate of Petrol City in Tinder, which happens to be at this particular moment around about 4,220,000. It is the cheapest as we speak right now. That's 1 litre for petrol at this particular time, and at diesel is 3,920 at this particular time. Perhaps if you're around about that area, if it is Petrol City in Tinder, this is your time to go and fuel up right now at Petrol City in Tinder. It has the best rate as per this morning. They haven't changed much since yesterday, so we are tracking the fuel prices and analyzing the fuel as we get over to Christmas, to the Christmas break. It's important for you to fuel up now. I'm telling you, by after the weekend, be it the 24th and the 25th, of course, lots of people will be taking up their fuel, and there might be a slight rise by perhaps 100 or 200 shillings on the fuel rate. So keep that in mind. Up next, of course, for those of you who are in construction and who have to buy this morning perhaps a bag of cement, and you don't know which cement to buy, we have various prices on hand. Our analysts in the field sent us these. We have one from Tororo Cement and other rates, and there you have them. Hima Cement today is at 28,000 Uganda shillings. That is just for a pack of cement. Tororo today is at 30,500 Uganda shillings, and Simba Cement is at 28,000 Uganda shillings, and Kampala Cement is at 28,000 Uganda shillings. And I think you can see a bit of a difference between the rest. That's Hima, Sima, and Kampala. They remain steady at 28,000 Uganda shillings per sack of cement, and it has been that way for the entire week, right into last week as well. So it's steady there. The only price is Tororo Cement at 30,500 Uganda shillings. And sometimes someone might wonder, why is there a variation in prices? Sometimes it's the items used, the raw material used into that product that determines its price, first and foremost. But also secondly, it could be the distance, the location of getting that necessary cement to the point, to the necessary point. If Tororo Cement, of course, Tororo Cement is based in Tororo, you will find that to transport some of the cement to the city takes money. So, of course, there will be a slight increase in their product. So that's what the cement prices look like. If you're in construction this morning, you should take a look at Hima Cement, and you should take a look at also Kampala Cement. They're trading at 28,000 Uganda shillings as we speak this morning. And of course, let's take a look at the market prices for those of you who are at home. You haven't gotten to go to the market yet. This is an appeal for you. It's an appeal to you. Just remember that Christmas, we celebrate Christmas in a matter of days and counting. Next week, I think next week, Tuesday around about, shall be Christmas. And it's important for you to go to the market now. The prices certainly will soar. As we come closer to the Christmas weekend, everybody will be rushing to the market, making sure that they're able to get the necessary items that they need, the necessary food that they need to have a Christmas dinner or Christmas luncheon. So make it a point, if you're free today, or if you have some time out of the office, or if you have maybe a domestic staff that you've left money with or a budget with to buy the necessary groceries, it's important for that person to go out and do it today. So let's take a look at Balukudembe market this morning, and you can see cassava flour still trading at 2,000 Uganda shillings, and we can also see maize grains at 3,000 Uganda shillings per kilogram. Millet flour, also very popular, it's also trading at 3,000 Uganda shillings. And popcorn this morning, 3,000 Uganda shillings. Soybean, 4,000 Uganda shillings. I talked about soybean yesterday. One might wonder, why is it that millet powder and soybean are quite different? soybean, of course, very rich in protein, very recommended by doctors for those who are trying to fight their weight. And it's very important also. It's healthy food. That's why it's quite costly, 4,000 per kilo. Sorghum flour is 3,000 per kilogram, and cowpeas is 3,500 this morning. Groundnuts expected 4,500 Uganda shillings to 4,800 Uganda shillings this morning, and of course Simsim at 4,500 Uganda shillings. That's the market prices from St. Balikudembe market. Usually, if we only give you one market like it appears to be this morning, usually it means that our market analysis researchers who are in the field have found that St. Balikudembe market, as we speak, is the one that has the best fresh produce, number one, and at a minimal cost, and at a comparable cost, or at a good cost for this morning. So that's what we found. It is pretty much steady, same rates, almost the same rates as per yesterday. So if perhaps you're nearby St. Balikudembe market, or you're looking forward to perhaps doing some Christmas shopping, you should be doing it at St. Balikudembe market. On that note, we're going for a quick commercial break. We have the news highlights coming on next. Then we'll be back to Smart Business. Thank you for staying tuned to Smart Business, where we believe in that you should be a smart businessman and a smart businesswoman. Well, right now we're going to take a look at the transport rates for you. This, of course, is a few days before the Christmas season. Let me take this opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Kindly be safe and be responsible. If you're to travel somewhere, drive responsibly, or make sure perhaps you do have a designated driver to take you from point A to point B and be safe. But most importantly, just make it a point to always make your travels well planned beforehand. And of course, we're going to take a look at the transport rates as and when we receive them. And of course, our rates at times, they do change. Other times they don't change. It's greatly determined at this particular moment as the season dictates. And as of yesterday, the rates pretty much remain the same. Maybe there's a slight increase in that transport route to Fort Portal. We're expecting that one to certainly rise. Currently to Juba it's 100,000 Uganda shillings. There's no doubt by the time we reach the weekend that might have doubled to around about 120. And of course on the day before, if you travel to Juba, the day before it will certainly have tripled by then. Mubende, it is 30,000 Uganda shillings as we stand. That has remained constant for the last 4 to 5 days or so. We don't anticipate a change because transport to Mubende usually remains pretty much constant. And to Mutukula, it remains at 25,000 Uganda shillings. Where we anticipate a change, without a doubt, happens to be Fort Portal. And I think that's a one-way route of 35,000 Uganda shillings, no doubt will increase by the time we get over to the Christmas season. There's no doubt in my mind we might be at around about 55,000 Uganda shillings to Fort Portal. So we're waiting for the changes in that. And in Chotara, traveling to Chotara, it's 20,000. Perhaps you have family and friends who you want to spend Christmas with. You'll certainly spend it in Chotara, and it's usually at 20,000 Uganda shillings. And Kasese currently is 40,000 Uganda shillings. That is one way. That is 40,000 Uganda shillings. We anticipate that might remain steady and constant because usually trips to Kasese really remain pretty much the same. However, like I said before, where we anticipate there to be a change in the transport rates certainly will be in Fort Portal, without a doubt. So this is an appeal again from this channel. If you're a businessman or a businesswoman watching this channel, we know that you're going to be transporting a lot of goods throughout the Christmas break. Please make sure that you've carried out the necessary regulations that are required for you to move your goods from point A all the way to point B or all across the country, so that you're not disturbed by the traffic police who are usually on standby and who are usually increased during this time of season. That's number one. Number two, if you do own a transport business, kindly check your driver. Who is your driver? Who is the driver who's driving your truck? Maybe you have a trailer. Who is driving your trailer? Do they have the necessary license to drive that trailer? Are there systems in your company to ensure that the transport office or the transport officer is doing his job to make sure that his drivers are well taken care of, and most importantly are traveling with the right documentation? That's very important. And also for the goods that they're carrying, so that you don't have any problems during the Christmas break. Issues to do with traffic regulations. Of course, the Uganda Police is carrying out their much touted promotion, Fika Salama. In Swahili, Fika Salama means reach safely. We want to make sure that you reach your home safely. So you as a business owner today and a businesswoman today, make sure that your drivers are able to carry out Fika Salama, meaning please adhere to the transport regulations. In the last few days or so, we've seen some horrific accidents. There was an accident, I think, in Kasese. People lost their lives. There was one in Kapchorwa where 19 to 20 people lost their lives. And there was another case by I think it was the Ginger Road junction where 2 people were killed on the spot due to overspeeding. So our appeal to you is, please, if you are a businessman and a businesswoman today, make sure that those who are driving your vehicles really have the necessary documentations and are carrying out their due diligence. Again, in law, in Ugandan law, we have what we call a vicarious liability. If you're the owner of that vehicle, that means all the liability falls directly on you. So you be a smart businessman, you be a smart businesswoman today, and check your drivers and check those who are transporting your goods from point A to point B. And if perhaps you're a traveler this morning, make sure that, of course, you have made the necessary bookings for your transportation. You might be saying that, no, Jane, I'm going to be let off work by maybe Sunday and I can't make my transport arrangements till then. No, yes, you can. You can book your ticket, your bus ticket now. It's cheaper. If you do it, if you wait till Sunday, it might have doubled, maybe by another, it might have increased by another 10,000 or another 20,000. So smart traveler is a person who buys their ticket now. And if you have to fly, if you have to travel, a smart traveler is one who knows their travel itineraries throughout the year. So if you know you're going to travel during the Christmas season, why don't you book your ticket in June or in July? It's much cheaper that way. And get your visas also pretty early. The issue is, at the end of the day, this is all about planning. And if you plan well, you use the appropriate amount of funds and you don't lose money. So on that note, we're going for a quick commercial break. We're certainly going to be back. You're tuned into Smart Business, where we believe that you don't just have to be smart, you have to be smart in business acumen as well. We'll see you after the break. Thank you for staying tuned to smart24 television, where we believe in smart business. This show is called A Smart Business. My name is Jane Kasumba, and I know you usually do watch two of us at this time. Hannah Mbago, who's my co-presenter, is away on special assignment. Another of our presenters, who happens to be here on the usually during the mid-morning time, is Anthea Ibembe. Anthea today, this week, has been assigned to be in the UK, and she's been carrying out a little research about small and medium enterprises in the United Kingdom. And this is what she found. Over to Anthea. Well, Anthea Ibembe is in the heart of London, and she managed to, of course, interact with quite a few business owners there. We shall be, of course, getting you that information as and when we receive it. But most importantly, for those of you who are watching us, you can also follow us on our Twitter handle. I'll be letting you know our Twitter handle shortly. But let's go over to Anthea Ibembe. Let's find out what she had to find out about small and medium enterprises in the United Kingdom, and one actually owned by a Ugandan Asian. Very interesting.
S24, and today here in London, South London, it's actually around 8 p.m. and I will be looking at the small businesses, and today we take a particular look at Lindo's family business. Now this is a corner shop which I use and many Africans and many neighborhood people use as they come to pick up easy daily groceries. So we see that it's a very quick, easy stop without having to go to the bigger supermarkets. But do they face a challenge with the bigger supermarkets and the competition? They say the Morrisons and the Tesco's and the Sainsbury's are actually a very huge competition. We speak with Mr. Lindo, who is the proprietor, and actually surprising to find he is also a born Ugandan, a Ugandan native. We speak with him about how business goes on a daily, what challenges he faces, and how he hopes to carry on into the new year.
My name is S.B. Patel.
Right, sir.
Born in Uganda, Soroti, in 1945. Moved here when Idi Amin told us to get out, and joined the bank for 10 years, and then I started my own business. I started with one shop, which was a convenience grocery shop in El Mazen, and then as time passed I've got another one in Dulwich and Sutton. Right, the business is a very hard working thing because I start at about 5 in the morning till 9 o'clock. Obviously not working all the time, but when my first business I bought in 80s, I used to work more or less about 12 to 14 hours a day. That included even Sunday. And we had the same type of business like what we have got in Sutton now, which is newspapers, confectionery, grocery, a few bits of groceries, wines and spirits, and tobacco.
Well, we have heard from Mr. Smart24 Patel, the proprietor of Lindo Family Business, a corner shop here in Sutton, which actually is thriving despite the competition from the small express shops that are put up by the bigger brands like Sainsbury, Marks and Spencer and Tesco. The reason they thrive, from his interview, is the proximity to the train station. So you have a lot of people coming off the train and coming to pick very quick, daily, easy groceries and going back home. They also thrive because of the loyal clientele. Actually, you'd be surprised to find they have a lot of African, Ugandan and Kenyan particularly customers who come in on a daily and regularly to pick their groceries because of the customer loyalty they have. So that's the reason why the Lindo shop and other similar businesses in the UK and in South London are thriving. Other than that, they face very big competition from Morrison and the bigger brands, and how they survive, now that's a question for another day. I'm Anthea Ibembe for S24. Thank you for staying with us.
A special thank you to Anthea and Bembe. They're in Sutton in the United Kingdom. And Anthea, of course, will be bringing us a series of interactions with small and medium enterprises and their owners and what they've been going through. And that one was special. It's called Lindo. It's right by, like she said, right by the underground. And when you get off it, you can quickly go and buy yourself something. And it's become pretty much of a popular spot to pick up a small item or so, convenience store. And she talked about, of course, the proprietor of that, of Lindo, the proprietor being a Ugandan Asian. He was born in Uganda, but has made it really big in the United Kingdom. And we managed to get a clip from him. Well, a special thank you to Anthea Bembe. On that note, let's go for some news updates. Remember, the news updates on this channel are at every top of the hour and every half past the hour, so that you can be informed about all matters business. Our news is different, very different from the rest. We don't necessarily focus solely on current affairs or political issues. We focus majorly on business. So if there's, for example, a sporting issue that's happening, we make sure that we make sure that the focus is on the business aspect of it. If it's a political situation, we focus on the business aspect of it. How does it affect you as a businessman or as a businesswoman? Remember, we are the business channel for the businessman and the businesswoman. We're also popularly known as the TV Yomusubuzi. We're going for a quick commercial break. The news updates are on next.